Hi, I'm Ernie Shimizi for WVVH-TV, and we're joined by a very special guest, Roy Finlay. Roy, you have a most unique story, and the fact that you're one of our locals from Shelter Island even adds to this story. Congratulations, Roy, on your accomplishment. We really want our viewers to know your story, so thank you for being with us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and what led to the building of the ORCA and ultimately this mission that many would think would be impossible to even fathom, rowing across the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, well, it all started, I think, at a young age. Probably in the backyard. I was always exploring. And yeah, I've been sailing all my life. I've sailed the Atlantic 3 times, and I was making a living delivering boats, skippering charter boats in the Caribbean, that kind of thing. But it wasn't adventurous enough. So back in '98, I actually built a boat with this intention to row from the Canaries to Barbados in the Caribbean.
You live on Shelter Island with your wife and 2 children, and one day you decided in your garage to, am I saying it correctly, to build a boat of your design. Did you have the Atlantic rowing record in mind when you were building that boat?
Oh yeah, she was built specifically for that. But it was due to a failure in '98 that I realised that I had to change things a bit, and that relates to with regard to the size of crew, the design of boats, everything. Basically, it's crew, boat, and weather. So that route from east to west is normally dependable. I knew that I had to get the boat right, and the crew, the amount of crew, I felt that 4, including myself, was the right way to go. So yeah, she was built as a result of what ultimately became an obsession after failure in '98. So it wasn't a mad moment. It was something that I arrived at after, I guess, 9 years of thought. And my wife, I've been with Colleen for 8 years, so she was obviously aware of this obsession, so it wasn't no big surprise when I said I was going to have a second crack at it.
Prior to this voyage and this historic voyage that you did this summer, what was the longest that you rowed between 2 points?
Well, I rowed around Scotland in '97, which took me 5 weeks. I wasn't in much of a rush, so I did. It was a great expedition. So I don't know what the maximum length of time would be. Constantly, probably 8 hours.
When you mentioned rowing around Scotland, historically, there's a lot to be said, and you're a good historian as to what's led before, what preceded you before this, before your historic trip.
Yeah, and as I keep saying, and it's mentioned on I think I've coined the phrase unsung heroes with regard to Harbaugh and Samuelson, who were the first ocean rowers who rowed across the Atlantic from New York to ultimately Le Havre in France, and I believe on to Paris. But they were the first ocean rowers, and they were Norwegian immigrants who lived or resided in New Jersey and for a time in Brooklyn. So in actual fact, New York is the home of ocean rowing.
The accomplishment of Harbaugh and Samuelson is noteworthy. Prior to that, was there anyone else who attempted to row across the Atlantic either way?
No, they were the first. They were clam fishermen, and they were encouraged, let's say, by a Richard Fox, who at the time owned the Police Gazette newspaper, and rumor has it, obviously it's been lost in the annals of history, but suggests that he had offered them $10,000 if upon success. They subsequently never saw the money, but they felt that they could profit from a career in the lecture circuit in the States, which never happened. Then there was a lull for a great number of years, and then we get up to sort of the early 60s when we have John Ridgway and Che Blythe, who rowed west to east in 90 days. Then we had John Fairfax, who was the first solo to row across the Atlantic, That was from east to west, from the Canaries to Florida, actually. So we had a lot of these independent rowers rowing across the Atlantic. Johnston and Hoare on their boat Puffin. They lost their lives. In total, there have been 6. So that's kind of that's the dangerous side of the sport. Then Che Blythe, who I just mentioned, decided it would be a good idea to start a race from the Canaries to the Caribbean, consisting of a number of boats. I think the first race consisted of perhaps 25, mid-20s. The majority of these boats had 2 of a crew in each, and off they went. And since that day, that race has been run every second year.
That particular race, you didn't enter into that race. Your race was a different race.
Yes, our race was against Le Mondial. Le Mondial is a boat that set the world record in '92 with a French crew. They did it in 35 days. So I felt that the best way to prove the multi-hull, prove our design, was to go up against the fastest boat.
What time is it, Daddy? I don't know. Here we are, day 1, sunset on day 1. I think we're about 400 miles away from Gran Canary. Captain and Mega Man there at the back, as he's been duly nicknamed. Pan around. And yeah, left at 1:15, and it's now about, what time is it, Roy? 5? 6 o'clock. It's over there somewhere.
Roy, on December 15, 2007, you embarked from the Canary Islands as part of your voyage across the Atlantic. Just for the benefit of our viewers, what exactly, I mean, you had a crew of 4. Could we talk a little bit about your crew? And also, what sort of provisions does one have to place on a vessel in order to be able to meet this challenge?
The crew. What I didn't do was, I didn't go through any lengthy process of selection. I just took people that I came across at face value and tried to indoctrinate to them what ocean rowing was all about and yeah, what to expect, which is basically expect the unexpected. So that was the crew.
That's USS Navy. They're after Ronnie. He hasn't paid his bills. He's got some community service to do.
The name of my vessel is ORCA. Oscar Romeo Charlie.
A south-southwest wind, blowing at about 30 knots, maybe even gusting stronger. As you can see, we're sitting on the sea anchor. Oh, I said the F word again, sorry about that. Look at this. Woohoo! Hold on to you! Nothing but good times out here. Macaroni and cheese. We're losing ground at the rate of about, I think, 0.6, 0.7 a mile per hour. But we'll get all that back in the trade winds when we're riding these beasts of glory to victory. Aye! Here I am pumping me water for my breakfast shake. Take me about 8 minutes of pumping this. I'll have that little baby full. Oh yeah. that's pretty close. Wouldn't like it that close at night, that's for sure.
LNG Ogan,
They don't want to talk to us. Snobs. They're afraid of snobs.
reasonable conditions. We made some headway west, and then we got hammered by northwesterlies. And when I say hammered, I mean hammered. And I think it was actually the man that's holding the camera, Ronnie, who said it was trial by fire, was it?
I think that's the truth.
And yes, we put the sea anchor out, and really up until that point, I was concerned about how the boat was going to handle, frankly, whether or not she was actually going to stay together, because although the whole multi-hull concept is not new to me, having built it with these, obviously you have your doubts. So we're on the sea anchor, and we were taking 20-foot waves, and they were waves. At some points I wouldn't be surprised if ORCA was riding them beyond 45 degrees.
Awesome! Emma! Woo! Whoa!
Provisions were concerned, again, provisions had a lot to do with weight. Weight basically is an ocean rower's enemy. There's no point in having a slick boat like ORCA and then loading her full of, cans of food. So what we did was we'd established that, and again, this is my opinion, and I was shot down over it a number of times, but whatever. 5,000 calories seems to be the figure that everybody calculates around with regard to the daily intake of a rower. They reckon you'll burn 5,000 calories a day. I don't think that's correct. I think it's way over the top. I think more 3.5 is probably about right. So what we did was we calculated the food that we needed, and ensuring that the diet was all correct and tasty, and we got to a total weight that brought us up to the design weight of the boat in accordance with the designer. And then what we did was we put the equivalent amount of water in the boat when we were testing the boat in Shelter Island, and basically we worked out how far she actually sank into the water.
Spread that over there like that. Mayonnaise, yummy, fatty goodness. And then we take this stuff over here. Look, what do we have here? Oh my goodness, it's bacon. Oh yeah. Put that like that. That's not. Oh, we got more. Oh yeah, we got more. Still baby's chockers. Look at that. For all those at home, I know you're getting jealous here. Looking at all this goodness. Oh yeah, we eat well on ORCA. Well, we will for the first week anyway. Put some beans on there. Look at that. Spread that out like that. A meal fit for a king.
It's 25th of December, obviously. We left the 15th, therefore this is day 10. We've been running with this swell in this weather now for this is the third day, and it's making us all very uncomfortable, wet, damp. We've taken a lot of water in the boat. This is our method for steering. One guy has to be on the helm. We can't have two guys rowing. And yes, last night we took on so much water that we actually have a fish. This is not a flying fish. Not a flying fish, this is a regular fish.
I believe that to be an anchovy. Anchovy, everybody.
Anchovy.
Good bait.
Anchovy.
Some cheese and a peanut butter there. Look at that. Bit of that. Goodness. I'll take some bacon. Yeah, ooh. It's a bit rough out there. And wrap that little puppy up and there you go. Every day today. Captain Finlay at the helm. ORCA moving along at a fine rate of knots.
In terms of GPS or equipment like that, was that on board? Were you able to utilize the technology of today?
Yeah, but the worst thing that one can do, and having worked around boats for years, sailed them, whatever, built them, the worst thing you can do is to rely on the boat system. The worst thing you can do. You got to the KISS principle applies here. In other words, you've got to determine what is absolute priority. What do you absolutely need? And you could be in a life or death situation. So what you've got to do is say, right, what can I not do without? And the one thing is water. The human body can go for 30 days without food, but you've got 3 days without water. So based on the fact that we can't carry sufficient water for 36 days for 4 guys in a 30-foot boat, you have to have water makers, which are, it's reverse osmosis. They're turning the salt water into fresh. Now there are two. The standard way of approaching that is to to employ electric water makers, or maybe one in a spare. But history of ocean rowing has told us that anything that moves or has got wires attached will break. So I thought, well, I'm not going down that route. So I spoke with Cuddihy water makers of North America. Had a long and lengthy chat with Chris Voxland, and he respected the fact that we were putting ourselves, or the success of the expedition, before our own comfort, in as much as the sensible way to do it would be to employ manual water makers, which meant we had to pump the water that we drank. But at the same time, we could be assured that we had two and two spares, so we had a backup for a backup for a backup for a backup, so we're always going to have water. And with regard to the other the navigational equipment, as I told you earlier, I always use old-fashioned chart and the GPS. I only want to know where.
We're at our top speed of 4.9. 17.3 on our maximum speed coming off a wave. We have 4.9 was our running speed.
117 miles, 17.3 max speed, average of 4.9 is that?
Yeah, 4.9, 4.8 is our speed right now. We're looking at 117 miles over 24 hours.
Beautiful.
Looking out over the bow of Orca on her 13th day of voyage. It's 6 o'clock. Somewhere in the horizon lies Barbados and victory at sea. This is the cabin and the harsh living quarters that the men of Orca have endured at the foot of Orca for the last 13 days. Believe it or not, there's a lot more room than it looks. But it has been filled with water on numerous occasions. As I pan around to the right, see Chris's side, and to the left is Uncle Ronnie's side. And that's it, boys. I'll give you an idea what's behind me. Oop, there's some Cheerios. There's our water maker. We're pumping our water. Electronics have been a bust. Here we are on day 27. Woo-hoo! That little following breeze.
Do you not have power problems across the ocean?
Yeah, we had a satellite phone which we were using to obviously keep in touch with those that had to be kept in touch with. And then, well, we took a lot of water in the boat, and the electrical system, all right, burnt out basically. Which rendered our phone US because we couldn't charge the battery.
Amazing. And there's no Radio Shack out there, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, here we are, day 30, and it's Tweedledee in the front and Tweedledum following in behind. What we have here is a complete rainbow.
Dennis, a pot of gold at the end of it.
That's of day 31. As you can see, Barbados is not that far away, probably about 600 miles less, 550. But what it actually means is that we're not going to break the world record.
which is slightly disappointing. However, we've done really well in view of the fact that we spent 3 days on a sea anchor.
Barbados, baby. Look at that. Less than well, it's about a quarter of a mile away. And
There's somebody on the beach.
where's that lighthouse? There's the point.
ORCA, she proved herself. She's a fast boat, and the fastest out there. Not only that, she's the first multi-hull in history to have been rowed across any ocean of the world. Now, you know, maritime records these days are pretty hard to come by, you know, ones of note. And that is one that's worth talking about. So really that's where I take most pleasure in that knowledge as opposed to 4 minutes. You know.
Roy, you're a man to be admired. Here on the eastern end of Long Island, we've come across a lot of people who've distinguished themselves, who've taken a chance, who've been pioneers, mostly in the world of business, and they've reaped the benefits for what they're doing. But you risked life and limb and your personal fortune in quest of something that you had to do, and you came up aces, and you're ready to approach it again. And we admire what you're doing, and we want to keep following what you're doing because our viewers need to know what Roy Finlay is up to and what his expeditions are. And throughout this year here on WVVH, we'll be following your progress as you go forward, and hope you can come back and keep us posted as to where you're going. Roy Finlay, originally from Scotland, now from Shelter Island, where he lives and is raising his family, and we're proud to count you among our people here in the New York market who are really making a difference.
Well, thanks very much.